Welcome to Huddle Up, brought to you by the Fields Auto Group. Jaguars senior writer John Oehser, NFL Network analyst and former Jaguar Bucky Brooks, and senior reporter J.P. Shadrick bring you the latest on your Jacksonville Jaguars. Huddle Up starts right now.
And Huddle Up with Bucky Brooks brought to you by the Fields Auto Group Jacksonville. Step up to luxury, fieldsauto.com. It is Wednesday of Week 6. The Indianapolis Colts come to town to face the Jaguars this Sunday. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff time. The game presented by Hyundai. J.P. Shadrick, John Oehser at the Miller Electric Center in the Hyundai Studios. And Bucky Brooks is in Los Angeles, as he is each and every week. We're recapping last week's win, the sweep of London, and much more ahead. Bucky, good afternoon. It's a happy place to be these days, I must say.
It's a happy place to be. Anytime you have an opportunity to reel off a couple of wins, you feel better about your station in life. And so life is good right now down in Duval.
I'm happy.
Yeah, John's happy. Everybody's happy.
Sure.
Good.
It's temporary.
I thought
sure he's beginning to get upset.
I thought even beyond winning back-to-back, I thought beating the Bills the way they beat the Bills, this is the 23rd game of the Doug Peterson era. I thought it was the most impressive win, the best win they've had, including a playoff. I mean, a playoff win's a different thing, but to beat that team that way, I think it's the most impressive win of the Doug Peterson era.
And Bucky, they did it in all phases. He talks about full team wins all the time and needing to do things in all three phases, and they did that, certainly on defense. Let's start there. I mean, this defensive group facing a Bills team that was second in the league in scoring coming in, they shut down the running game. They did enough against Josh Allen to kind of get him uncomfortable. He underthrew a couple of passes because of that. And they were fantastic on defense against the Bills.
They were fantastic on defense. And, it's one of the things, like being in the locker room, they talked about being the bigger bully. They wanted to impose their will. They wanted to make it a very physical contest. They talked about putting the pads on and keeping the pads on through the early part of the season so they could identify, so they could create that identity in terms of being an edgy team. And it played out. They did a great job of tackling in space. They really took it to the Bills. And even though the score indicated that it was a one-touchdown game, this was one that the Jaguars dominated and controlled the game from beginning to end. Yes, it got close. It got a little contentious at the end, but this was a game. I mean, you talk about the best win in the Doug Peterson era. Look, I second that because it was a great performance in terms of playing complementary ball and beginning to see the style that the Jaguars can use to win a lot of games in 2023.
Yeah, and I don't know how accurate this is, but I'll say it anyway. It felt like a game that Doug Peterson would have been proud of to be in the NFC East back in the day. It was a street fight against a team that's used to being in big games, a team that's been in the playoffs for 3 years and 5 out of the last 6 or whatever, and you went toe-to-toe, and much like a December-January game, not everything went right.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the most impressive part to me was that, I didn't think they'd win the game. And I particularly didn't think they'd win the game if they didn't play great. And I agree with Bucky. They dominated it, but then had 2 or 3 times where you sort of gave away stuff you shouldn't have given away. You let them get back in it a little bit. And then to go and win it with your offense enforcing its will for the last 3 drives. And I say 3 because they had a 17-play drive that got no points.
That's right.
And then you ran into the end zone downhill in the last 2 drives. They've never had a victory like that in the Peterson era against a good team, Bucky.
No, they never have. And, it's funny because coming into the season, we envisioned this team playing a certain way, that it would be the offense carrying the way, they would light up scoreboards and be a bunch of shootouts. But we've seen through the first 5 games, really the defense has been the one that's been kind of rock steady, with the exception of a hiccup along the way. But this has been one where the defense is doing a great job of creating opportunities, short field opportunities by getting stops and occasionally getting turnovers. And then offensively, this has been a team that has played a lot more ball control in their style than we anticipated. even though they're throwing it around the yard, this is one where they're retaining possession. They're making sure that they're able to shrink the game and limit the opportunities for the opposing team. It's really been fascinating to watch how we thought this would be like a fast break team, and they're slowing down and really playing half-court basketball with the ball.
Yeah, and that shows me, JP, I think they can win a few different ways. And it felt last year like they could sort of win one way. And in order to get to the Super Bowl, in order to get deep in the playoffs, you have to be able to win multiple ways. If you can't win a game like this, all of a sudden the playoffs become very difficult because you see games like this. In terms of the defense, I'm the first one to say you can't do this. You can't take away plays and say, well, if you take away these, but I'm going to take away a couple of plays. I'm going to do what I say you can't do. Even against Houston, when they allowed 37 points, 2 communication breakdowns led directly to 2 touchdowns. So really, if you take away those 2 plays out of this season, they've been really good defensively, except for a couple of those. Now, those count. I'm not saying that. But it wasn't like against Houston where you were giving up 12-play drives for 7. They weren't just getting rolled. You gave a couple of big plays where it was clear something went just haywire in terms of communication. It's been a solid defense that's played winning football 4 or 5 games, and I think it's safe to say that wasn't the preseason narrative.
No, it certainly was not, but they're doing that right now, and they are 3-2 in first place in the division. They have the tiebreaker on the Colts, who are coming in. We'll get to that team coming up in just a little bit. We heard from head coach Doug Peterson today, though. Moving ahead, Jaguars players had Monday off. A workout yesterday was it, and then back on the practice field today. Any jet lag for the Jaguars?
Just spend more time, walkthroughs, kind of slow the pace down a little bit, try to get their bodies and minds kind of rejuvenated again. Obviously the onus is on the player for understanding the game plan and getting the game plan down, but I can do my part by helping them and maybe getting them, out of the building a little bit sooner, where they can not so much get them out of the building, but get them off the field where they can continue their rehab and treatments. And hydration is important, nutrition is important, and then making sure that they get rest at night.
So that's the head coach about the plan this week to get them back on track, and that's what it is, Bucky. You spend 10, 11 days in Europe. You're coming back, and you got to get back on track in a hurry because all of a sudden the schedule, you got 2 games in 10 days on the back end of this thing.
Yeah, 2 games in 10 days, and Doug Peterson talking about taking the pads off is all part of, I'm sure, a bigger plan. When I talked to Andrew Wingert after the game, he talked about how it had been a real physical early part of the year. They've been wearing pads once or twice a week, trying to really get the contact up. And so I'm not surprised that Doug is taking the pads off this week and next week with, the close proximity in games. What he wanted to do when he went to London, he wanted to utilize that time to really recreate a training camp atmosphere, not only in terms of like the level of intensity and the physicality, but the camaraderie and chemistry that the team was able to build. Now that you've done that, maybe you can scale back some of the physicality in practice because you feel like the guys understand it. They're back to understanding the team's process for winning games in terms of breaking the week down into these individual days that you have to get things done. And maybe, just maybe, this will be the start of a run that will allow them to kind of reel off a handful of victories and kind of put themselves in the thick of the race at the top of the AFC.
Yeah, I think it's got a chance to be. I'm intrigued by what Bucky said earlier. It does feel like, this London trip has sort of showed us what the identity of this team can be. They were fairly similar games in the sense that I don't remember, JP. I mean, I'm going to exaggerate here. When's the last time they led an entire game? It was against Houston last year.
We've always talked about slow starts for the offense, right? They're behind, and they got to climb back and all that. That didn't feel like the case in London.
But guess what? They didn't trail in London.
No.
In either game. And had, as Bucky said, as close as the Bills game got at times, the Bills never scored a touchdown when they had a chance, when it wasn't a 10-point game. You kept them at bay. You kept control of that thing against a team that, let's not underplay it, they had been killing teams going into that.
They had won 3 straight by 28 or more. I mean, running away from them.
Yeah, I thought this was maybe the best team in the league, and I would have sort of thought the game would have gone the other way. So I think it has a chance to be a a real benchmark game where as Doug said after, I think it was Monday when I asked him, he said, it gave us a glimpse into what we can be. He didn't say it's what we are, but it does give him an example, and it gives the players some confidence. Oh, okay, well, he's saying we can play this way. And when we do play this way, look who we beat, Bucky. We didn't beat, the Little Sisters of the Poor. We beat the Bills, who I thought last week they were the Super Bowl favorite.
Yeah, this is a team that had a lot of hype about them. They were hot. They had knocked off the Miami Dolphins, and you're over here talking about the Miami Dolphins who had put 70 points on the team before. The Buffalo Bills throttle them, blow them out, and then the Jaguars knock off the Bills. And so you're beginning to put these things together, and you're like, well, how good could this team be? Because I would still say that we haven't seen the Jaguars play their best football. Ideally, you want to see them playing their best football down the stretch. End of November, December, January, you would like to see them peaking. But it does give you the hope that this team can really accomplish a lot of great things this season.
Plenty ahead. We're back in a moment. We'll take our first look at the Indianapolis Colts, at least this week. The Jags saw them back in week 1, of course, up at Lucas Oil Stadium. The Buddy Bus is coming to Everbank Stadium October 15th. Early detection is crucial. Check mammogram off your list before the Jags take on the Colts. Learn more at baptistjags.com/buddy. This is Huddle Up with Bucky Brooks.
Hello, I'm Dan Fields, and we have some great news. Fields has the vehicle you want, in stock, priced right, and ready for delivery.
Fields Auto Group is Jacksonville's luxury automotive destination for Cadillac, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. Inventory is back and available for immediate delivery.
And every Fields customer can take advantage of our Fields Amenities program with complimentary loaners, car washes, and our cafes. You deserve the best.
Stop by today or go to fieldsauto.com.
Are you ready to elevate your tailgate experience, Jaguars fans? Citrus Distillers, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, is excited to announce the 2023 Jaguars Limited Edition Whiskey Bottle. Now available at Total Wine and other participating retailers. Elevate your tailgate experience, Jaguars fans. The 2023 Jaguars Limited Edition Whiskey Bottle. Duval!
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at Everbank Stadium because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over 70 years of authentic Southern Pit Barbecue. We are the local barbecue joint in BBQval for generations of people in Jacksonville. Go to bonosbarbecue.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Anthony Richardson has made a difference. His ability to run, the ball. He's thrown the ball. They've made plays offensively, quite frankly, and the run game, is really kind of sparked them. And defense is solid. I mean, obviously it's a penetrating style of front. I think Zaire Alexander obviously is leading the league in tackles right now. He's all over the field. He kind of that field general for them. I mean, he's a really good player, and he's playing well. Right now we know DeForest and his size and length and what he did against us in the first game, and then Grover right there. I mean, these guys are. It's a solid defense that's keeping them in football games, and they've had some really good wins. Obviously, we're both 3-2, obviously, and but it's just Shane's got him playing extremely well and extremely confident right now.
That's Doug Peterson, of course, earlier today discussing the Indianapolis Colts. Welcome back. It's Huddle Up with Bucky Brooks. It's Wednesday. It's week 6. The Colts come to town. First place in the division on the line. The Jaguars 3-2, the Colts 3-2. Jaguars got them back in week 1 at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. JP Shadrick, John Oehser, and Bucky Brooks. The Jaguars ran the ball pretty well up in Indianapolis week 1. They broke through at the end with some longer runs. Obviously, Etienne with the late touchdown in that game, and Travis is coming off the second best career rushing day in his career last week with 2 touchdowns and really exploded for that 35-yard run at the end of the game against the Bills. So The run game of the Jaguars against this Colts defense, Bucky, you know what they are in the pass rushing game, especially in the interior with Buckner and those guys, but if they can get something done on the ground this week, that would be a good start.
Yeah, I think that's the recipe every week, and Doug Peterson has said that he wants this to be a passing team. There'll never be one of those teams that's 50-50 when it comes to run-pass balance, but what we've seen is Travis Etienne has been the most consistent offensive player on the team. We've seen when he's been giving you a heavy workload, he's been productive not only as a runner but as a receiver. And as he has it going right now, you want to continue to ride the hot hand, because as he goes, what it does is it dictates the terms to the defense, and then they have to make difficult decisions. Do you load up to stop the run, or do you allow Travis Etienne to run crazy? But if you take a defender and put him in the box, you now run the risk of going one-on-one with Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, and Evan Ingram. Either way, it's a win for the Jaguars. The establishment of the running game has been a nice find and a big key to their success thus far.
Here's what I predict, Bucky. I'm going to make a prediction that I'm sure is right. No, I answer questions from fans, Bucky. I don't know if you know that about me.
I'm aware of that.
So I get a lot of emails during games. And a lot of times the emails you get in the third quarter are much different than the emails you get in the 5 minutes after a game. I think I'm going to get a lot of emails the rest of the season in the second quarter with people saying, "Why are they being so stubborn with the run?" And then after the game, singing the praises of Travis Etienne. That's really been the pattern so far. Against the Colts, it was sort of that way. Doug and Press have both talked a lot about having to persevere. I don't know that Travis is going to have a lot of great first halves because the offensive line, frankly, hasn't really gotten pushed. It doesn't feel like a dominant run-blocking unit right now, but they are sticking with it. The other day was a perfect example, 111 in the second half and, 25 in the first. I think those two coaches are going to have to work hard to be persistent and maybe have some sticky notes. Like Press might have some sticky notes on the window saying, keep running. Even though it's not working, not that he needs that. But the persistence the other day was what struck me, because they were not a good running team in the first half. And then all of a sudden, on the key drive of the game, Travis runs 3 times for 27 yards and rolls into the end zone. In the first half, this did not look like a team that was going to be able to run 3 times from the 27-yard line and roll into the end zone. And they eventually just wore the Bills down in an incredibly different first half than second half.
Yeah, it was funny listening to the coaching staff at halftime. They talked about wanting to impose their will. They talked early in the half about being able to kind of pop one on a sweep or being able to get the counter game going with Travis Etienne kind of hitting it behind the kickout block, and they were able to do that. The thing that was really impressive, and it's one of the reasons why the running game is still important, even though this is a team that runs through number 16, the running game is important at the end of games when you're trying to salt the game away. When the Jaguars needed to kind of drain the clock, slow it down, seize control of the game, they were able to hand it to Travis Etienne over and over and over again, even though the Buffalo Bills knew that it was coming. To me, that's a significant improvement over what the team was able to do last year. And if they can keep that run element where it's a legitimate run game, man, it's really going to open up this offense as we get into the late stages of the season, because defenses then will have to adjust to make sure that they take care of number one, and that opens up the field for everybody else.
Yeah, you beat me to it, Bucky. If there's a difference, that's it. You did not feel like this was a great 4-minute team last year. They converted things, but it was often with Trevor throwing on 3rd and 3. On one of those plays I mentioned, when they went in from the 27, the first run of that series was on 3rd and 5 for a 10-yard run.
Yes.
Well, that's really gutsy in that point because, again, for 3 quarters, they did not look like a team that was going to pick up 3rd and 5 running the ball. So their faith in it was impressive. I have a question for the analyst. I asked a question for the prognosticator the other day, but I've got
he wears many hats.
He wears a lot of hats. Why is Travis good? And when I say that, he does not look physically like the runner that he is, if you follow me. He's physical. He runs through tackles. JP, I think, was asking questions the other day, but he breaks more tackles than anybody in the NFL.
Yeah, he leads the league in forced missed tackles so far this
And the
season.
first thing I noticed about him last year in preseason was how hard he runs. He sort of had this reputation in college because he never got tackled as being a light breakaway guy. But he is tough, and I guess sort of where is he among the league's running backs right now, Bucky? Because he's moving up.
Yeah, he has to be moving up. He's inching towards that top 5, just in terms of his production, his performance, his playmaking ability, everything that he's bringing to the table. Not only as a runner, but also we've seen him make plays in the passing game. The thing about Travis that is really unique, I think he almost has an unorthodox herky-jerky style. He's a little more straight line as a runner. You don't see like the wiggle that you would see with a Fred Taylor or even what you saw with MJD. He's not built in that cloth. And, you know, when I look at him, he's not as fast or explosive. So I want to make sure that I give him the right context. But he kind of reminds me of CJ 2K, Chris Johnson, when he was at Tennessee, who was kind of straight line, but CJ 2K was super explosive in terms of being able to get from 0 to 60. Travis has that straight line running style, doesn't have the acceleration and burst, but you combine that style with the toughness and the balance that he displays. He's just a really, really good runner. I would say that if there was one area where he could improve, some of that would be vision, because he takes a lot of full face shots from defenders, whereas Fred and some of those other guys would kind of get the glancing blows. Travis appears to take it flush, but his toughness, his dependability, his reliability as a runner really has allowed the coaching staff to have more confidence in him. That's why I think we've seen him get the ball 20-plus times in recent weeks.
Yeah, I mean, his first year on the field last season, we'd see him just get smoked by a defender, like head over heels, and you haven't seen that lately. I mean, honestly, he would just get rocked, but now he's shaking free of it or running over a guy or making him miss. And, you know, Trevor Lawrence today was talking about, and Doug's talked about this as well, Doug Peterson, you know, he's more patient and trusting the blocking scheme ahead of him, squared shoulders, all the things leading into a big run, and then running through the hole when it's there, not just tiptoeing to it. That all kind of comes together.
Yeah, the part you mentioned was a huge emphasis for them in the offseason, was getting him to set up the blockers, run more patiently, not give away potential 4-yard gains going after an 8-yard gain. That's what I wanted to ask the analysts too. Is that a huge improvement for Travis? I'm not smart enough to be able to see it on film, but are you seeing the benefits of that, Bucky? Is that one of the reasons he's improved?
Yeah, because it's a mentality. It's a mentality where you've kind of beat into his head and the other running back's head. We don't want negative running plays. We don't want negative runs, because what it does, it puts you so far behind the chains that you lose all of semblance of balance when it comes to the next series of play calls. And so if you can just sometimes, stick your nose up in there, get you 2, get you 3, particularly early in the game, those 2 and 3 yard gains turn into 5, 10, 15-yard games in later quarters. It's like a boxer that likes to work the body. You got to hit him with those body shots early, and then eventually you can make him topple over with a big old haymaker. Travis Etienne is learning and appreciating, I got to do the dirty work early so I can get the glory late.
Yeah, and that's completely understandable. I mean, this is a kid who, frankly, at Clemson, probably didn't lose a whole lot of yardage.
No.
And when he did, it wasn't really a big deal because they could pick up 3rd and 12. And just a different game. He didn't have to run this way. It's about learning what professional football is.
That's exactly what it is. And so far, so good. He's 5th in the NFL in rushing yardage through 5 weeks so far. Plenty ahead. We'll come back. We'll take a closer look at the Indianapolis Colts, what they have to offer now. Anthony Richardson's on the shelf. So it's Gardner Minshew's game this coming Sunday for the Colts. And Jags fans want customized Jags furniture for your home. Check out zipchair.com and browse all customizable options. Zipchair furniture for fans. It's Huddle Up with Bucky Brooks.
Hello, I'm Dan Fields, and we have some great news. Fields has the vehicle you want, in stock, priced right, and ready for delivery.
Fields Auto Group is Jacksonville's luxury automotive destination for Cadillac, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. Inventory is back and available for immediate delivery.
And every Fields customer can take advantage of our Fields Amenities program with complimentary loaners, car washes, and our cafes. You deserve the best.
Stop by today or go to fieldsauto.com.
The kick is up. It's good!
Score winning sub deals this Jaguars regular season at Firehouse Subs. Get 2 medium subs for just $10 after any game when the Jaguars kick a field goal of 40 yards or more. It's a bold deal for the bold city. Sign up at firehousesubs.com/field goals for Firehouse for offer details and to automatically receive this offer when you use your Firehouse Subs rewards account. Redeemable only at participating Jacksonville and Orlando area restaurants. Only available on the Firehouse Subs app and online ordering.
Your hometown gate now has more ways to save. Introducing My Gate Rewards, a new loyalty program with member-exclusive savings and fuel discounts. Earn points on in-store purchases, take advantage of special offers, and save on products you love. Score free coffee, fountain drinks, pizza, and soft serve with Gate's frequent shopper clubs. Then use your points on savings at the pump. Download the My Gate Rewards app in the App Store today or ask a store associate for more information. Go from good to Gate.
You know, we've been, obviously, Angelo Blackson, getting him in here when we did has helped that. You know, Roy's playing well. Adam Gotts is getting more opportunities. You know, Jeremiah Ledbetter's playing good. And then the addition of Tyler Lacey. You know, all these guys are playing solid, consistent football right now. And they're staying disciplined with their gap integrity and all of that. And, you know, we're tackling better on the perimeter. There's a sense of urgency there. You know, guys are flying around, making plays. You saw Jank, you know, Sunday against the Bills coming through there and making some great tackles for losses, things like that. And I just think there's a confidence level that's, you know, with the defense right now that they kind of pride themselves on that.
That's the head coach, of course, earlier today. Welcome back. It's Huddle Up with Bucky Brooks, and the Colts-Jaguars game is presented by Hyundai. There's never been a better time to test drive that Hyundai you've always wanted. It's your journey. Own every mile in a brand new Hyundai. Visit buyhyundai.com today. JP Shadrick, John Oehser, Bucky Brooks, Jaguars-Colts coming up this Sunday, 1 o'clock kickoff time at Everbank Stadium. Jaguars trying to get a W in Jacksonville. Hasn't happened yet.
No, but they've beaten this team 8 years in a row at home,
Yes,
7 times here. So, and they're not getting a win in Jacksonville thing. I get it. You lost to the Chiefs, then you laid an egg against the Texans. So it's a thing. I don't. I guess I'll take it more seriously if it's a thing after Sunday.
Hey, let's Bucky get into this Jaguars run defense that Doug Peterson was referencing there, and hey, they've been very good, obviously, last week against the Bills, but different kind of challenge this week. This is a Colts offense that is run heavy, and they've got now a two-headed backfield. Moss put together 165 yards on 23 carries last week, including a 56-yarder, so he was good even outside of that long run. And then you got Jonathan Taylor back with the contract to go with it. So, hey, this is certainly priority number one, and then you make Gardner Minshew put it in the air against you, and that would be just fine. That has to be the game plan, right?
That is the game plan. The game plan is to make Gardner Minshew have to beat you. You have all the inside information. You know exactly who the player is. A lot of those players play with Gardner Minshew, so they understand what gives him problems. And so you have to take away the ability for the Colts to utilize a balanced game plan where they can run it and dictate the terms when they have to throw. This has to be about stopping Zach Moss. It has to be about stopping Jonathan Taylor, winning those early downs, and making Gardner Minshew throw second and third and long.
Yeah, I mean, if you make him make throws he doesn't want to make, there's a reason he's an NFL backup and not a starter. We saw it here. If you're pressuring him and he has to throw and try to convert 3rd and 12s, throwing into those kind of coverage, that's when you can get him. If he's ahead of you, or if you let him sort of get outside the pocket and get junky, if you will.
Yeah, that's right.
And what you don't want, frankly, I've been saying it all week, you don't want to be leading by 4 with 3 minutes to go. And all of a sudden he starts doing Minshew mania type stuff where he's running this way and throws the ball this way. because he's creative like that. He's unorthodox, and he can do stuff that you can't game plan for.
Bucky can't contain himself. Look at you, Bucky.
No, I mean that's what he is, and he's dangerous in that kind of a situation. We saw it multiple times here in Jacksonville.
What's so funny, Bucky?
I think he's a good quarterback when he plays for a bad team in situations that don't matter. I think we've seen when he's had to play under pressure in meaningful moments, he doesn't deliver. That's not knocking him. That's just what his
That's knocking him pretty good.
shows.
Sounds like a knock.
Sounds like a knock.
Yeah.
So the main thing is, and he is like most, like we've seen this, when you take away the running game and you force him to have to win from the pocket, I don't believe that he can make enough consistent pinpoint throws to be able to do it. And then when you factor in the way that he can get skittish against pressure, like all of that running around and all that, like that's great. But typically what comes with that are the interceptions and the old boy plays. And so if we can get him in that situation and force him to throw against a defense that knows he has to throw, man, the scales tip heavily in the Jaguars' favor.
Yeah, they've gotten leads the last 2 weeks. I think if they play the first quarter or so, quarter and a half, the way they had the last couple of weeks, and you're up 7-0, 10-0, I think it does turn into a long day for Minshew, no doubt.
Did you say the oh boy plays? Is that what you said, Bucky?
Yeah, the old boy plays because we want to make sure we use adult language. We don't want to make it salty. Don't want to make it salty.
What do you mean?
Maybe kids listening.
It is the internet.
Don't want to make it salty. But yeah,
I don't understand, Bucky.
He's a turnover waiting to happen, and if you can get him where he has to do, I mean, just think about the last game up there. He had an opportunity to kind of make the game close and make some plays and do that. He can't come through. I've sensed this just in watching some of the stuff on X or Twitter. Like some of the fans are fearful of him coming back, and it's the revenge game of Gardner Minshew. All right, I mean that's fine, but I think we've played better quarterbacks, and so we need to take care of him, give him his proper due. But we played much better quarterbacks.
It's safe to say Bucky ain't scared. That's fine.
I'm not.
No, if you play the way you should play, you're the Jags, then I think you win this one. But again, don't give him the ball in that final drive.
That's correct. Tuesday, October 24th from 5 to 6 p.m. Head to the Publix at E-Town Exchange to meet Jags players for a special appearance. Again, that's the Publix at 11025 E-Town Parkway in Jacksonville, October 24th. It's a Tuesday, 5 to 6 p.m. That's down on 9B, John, down southeast of town.
Yeah, I have no idea where that is.
That's down southeast of town. I just told you where it was, 9B. Yeah. Southeast.
Fine. If I have a GPS, I can make it.
You can get there. So check that out. You got a couple weeks to get there. We're back in a moment. Our final thoughts and a preview of Sounds of the Game. It comes up today at 5 o'clock. That's right around the corner in like 22 minutes. You'll get a sneak preview when we come back. It's Huddle Up with Bucky Brooks.
Hello, I'm Dan Fields, and we have some great news. Fields has the vehicle you want, in stock, priced right, and ready for delivery.
Fields Auto Group is Jacksonville's luxury automotive destination for Cadillac, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. Inventory is back and available for immediate delivery.
And every Fields customer can take advantage of our Fields Amenities program with complimentary loaners, car washes, and our cafes. You deserve the best.
Stop by today or go to fieldsauto.com.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at Everbank Stadium because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over 70 years of authentic Southern Pit Barbecue, we are the local barbecue joint in BBQval for generations of people in Jacksonville. Go to bonosbarbq.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Your hometown gate now has more ways to save. Introducing My Gate Rewards, a new loyalty program with member-exclusive savings and fuel discounts. Earn points on in-store purchases, take advantage of special offers, and save on products you love. Score free coffee, fountain drinks, pizza, and soft serve with Gate's frequent shopper clubs. Then use your points on savings at the pump. Download the My Gate Rewards app in the App Store today or ask a store associate for more information. Go from good to Gate.
Second down and 8 from the 35-yard line. of the Bills. The Bills are out of timeouts. They got none left. Under center. They run it again with Etienne. He bursts out of there. Touchdown! Travis Etienne! Gonna put a nail in this thing! Etienne scores! How good is that?
Didn't I tell you they were gonna tackle? Didn't I tell you keep your feet up?
There you have it. Sounds of the game coming up at 5 o'clock today. The debut. I think they put the crown on him. Is it the King of England now? At the end there. Travis Etienne Jr., who put together the... hold on. Just putting your mic on, John, before we get you going here. Travis Etienne put together his second-best rushing day. He is now the all-time London game rushing leader in league history in a career. He surpassed Frank Gore, who had played in 3 London games in his career. And earlier in the game, not with that run, but in an earlier run, Bucky, he is now the so-called rushing king of England.
Well, no, don't take away from that. Like he's you said the so-called, like he is the rushing king. He's the rushing champ of all the London games. I mean, that's great. Yeah. I mean, it's a nice accomplishment. Hopefully, he has some bigger ones, but he certainly has performed really, really well. The 2 games that we were able to sit and watch in London the last couple of weeks, I mean, he's taken his game up a notch. The key will be, once you show the league that you're a good player, can you continue to do it consistently, week after week? Can we start to kind of write in the box score that he's going to have 120 to 130 scrimmage yards? If you can begin to do that, then you feel really excited about what you have in the building in terms of how you game plan and who you're featuring in the game plan.
Yeah, I think he went through a little bit of that last year and sort of, I would say hit a wall, but had a good stretch, and then kind of went quiet for a couple of weeks, if I recall, and felt by the end that he was sort of backing through that. So maybe I think in third year compared to first, the way he's running, I think we can expect a little more consistency on that front, I would guess.
We'll find out starting this week. The Colts coming to town. The Jaguars at home against the division rival. First place on the line, Bucky. Final thought. What's your gut on this game?
Oh, my God. I feel good about this game. This is what we call a maturity game. Can you take care of business? One of the things that Calvin Ridley talked about in the post game when we were chatting on the side is he was talking about going back to Alabama. And he said the next step for our team is to take care of business in games that we're supposed to win. And I asked him, I said, at Alabama, so this would be like if Alabama was playing Vanderbilt, what was the approach? He was like, you go in, you take care of it the early part of the game, and then you finish it the second half. And so can we see the Jaguars begin to make that jump where in a game where they're playing against a team that everyone is going to say they should beat, they go out and play at a high level, they play to their standard, and they get rid of the Colts very, very early in this game.
Yeah, I would say the Colts are a little better than Vandy.
Right.
But, I mean, and
Bucky doesn't think so, apparently. Look at him.
I mean,
it seems in first place.
I mean, going
he's
into
won
the
3
season,
or 4 games.
Going into the season, did we expect the Colts to be a team that was a viable playoff contender? We didn't. Like now, they've gotten off to a good start, but I still expect the wheels to fall off at some point.
Okay.
Yeah, like
Bucky's a hater today.
Went to bowl
hates
games
the Colts.
James Franklin, but
Bucky hates the Colts.
Throwing out a lot of bulletin board material, Bucky, today, I must say.
But I liked the phrase, the very first part of that when he said it's a maturity game. I completely agree. You're talking about his team has not been in the situation that much, meaning you are a favorite at home with a chance to get a leg up in the division. They haven't been in a situation in a long, long time. It's a little similar to Tennessee last year when they were a favorite at home in the division for the first time in forever. So I think it's a big game on that front. How do you handle being the favorite? Okay, now if we win this through 6 games of the season, you're a clear by a game with a sweep over one of the teams, and you sort of get to stick your chest out and say, okay, we were the division favorites coming in. Mm-hmm. We're still the division favorites after 6 games. I think it's important on that front, although I think the Colts are better than Bucky thinks.
Oh, I didn't say they're bad, but you sitting there acting like
it sort of sounded like you said they were
beeping
bad.
noise. It's
Like,
Bucky backing up.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
No, I'm not.
He's
I'm not
backup
backing
Bucky today.
I mean, we're sitting there acting like they were a team that we expected to be a top 5 team in the
Not
AFC,
before the season.
and there's no one that expected them to be a top 5 team. They're here now, but I don't expect them to continue to be at the top of the division. There's no one that would look at their roster and say that. Nobody.
Beep. Back up. Beep.
Hey man, there's no backing up. I don't worry about the bulletin board material. I'm saying it's a lot. We're over here acting like Burt Jones and Johnny Unitas is gonna come back and play for the horseshoe. Gardner Minshew's not that guy.
Burt Jones is a good pull when you just ignored Peyton and Andrew Luck.
I was going to say, that's go way back.
But I think Burt Jones would have been in that group if he'd been healthy.
Smokes. All right, that'll do it for our program today. Our thanks to Joe Fortunato, of course, Brent Reaver, our entire production crew, Bucky Brooks, John Oehser. I'm JP Shadrick. Huddle Up with Bucky Brooks brought to you by Fields Auto Group Jacksonville. Step up to luxury, fieldsauto.com. The Colts and the Jaguars coming up this Sunday. We'll see you at the bank.